Let's turn to Israel, because there have been more protests today in Israel against new legislation aimed at restricting the power of judges. The demonstrations came hours after a new bill narrowly passed its first reading in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament. The contentious bill from the right-wing government of the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has already sparked 27 weeks of action by protesters concerned that the move erodes democratic norms. Well, those are the pictures from a little earlier. Let me show you live pictures from Ben Gurion Airport, which are just coming in to the building that I can see out of the corner of my eye, because those protests continuing there in Israel. A huge turnout, as you can see there on the other side of the screen. So large numbers of people coming out. As I was saying there in the introduction, these protests have gone on for about half a year, 6 months, so no let up as it goes through its first session there at the Knesset. But our Middle East correspondent Tom Bateman has been with the crowds in Tel Aviv a little earlier.
This is Ben Gurion Airport at Tel Aviv, and what you can see here are some quite bemused people heading to the airport with their suitcases trying to get into the terminal building. And what's happening here is a massive protest. The train station is down below and it's delivering people by the hundreds to the airport terminal. All of these protesters, and what the border police here are doing are herding the protesters away from the terminal itself. So if you look this way, you can see the size of the protests here at the airport. And basically the atmosphere here is pretty chaotic, although at the moment the Israeli security forces have got the protesters hemmed in to this part. They're pushing them back and not allowing them to get close to the arrivals or departures. Last week, protesters got in there and caused a lot of disruption for the airport, but made the point about these protests. We've been in Tel Aviv, we've just come here, thousands of people there. There are thousands of people in Jerusalem, a huge day of disruption that the organisers say they want to bring this country to a standstill. And that is because last night in the Israeli parliament, Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition of the far right and the ultra-religious began to put this judicial review back through the parliamentary process. It's back on, and so are the demonstrators. And in terms of what happens next with all this, the two sides are very much at a standoff, because Mr. Netanyahu's government is saying they're going to push through at least the bill that's on the table at the moment. The far-right National Security Minister has said that the police will have zero tolerance for disruption that stops traffic, stops the airport operating, and what he calls riots. But the protesters are vowing to press on, and so we see these very deep divisions, these fractures in Israeli society threatening to break out into the open once again, and many more turbulent hours and days ahead.
That was Tom Bateman in Tel Aviv.